Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's a rest day here in the pain cave, and by rest day I mean active recovery, because I'm going to do a light ride with you guys around New York on Zwift, and by pain cave I mean half of the dining room, but pain cave sounds a little more manly, so we'll stick with that. I've got a list of topics I want to get through today, and I'll keep promising you guys shorter videos. Let's be honest, not going to happen. I talk too much. You all know how to fast forward, zip through to the bits that you like, skip the bits you don't. That's about all I can promise you going forward. Today's topic, VO2 and VO2 max. We'll talk a little bit about both, mainly because of the workout yesterday, which if you didn't see, I'll put a link down below. You get to see me go through a tough workout, suffer at the end and pop 1 minute before the finish, which I was really disappointed with. I've worked out all the contributing factors that cause that, and I'm going to share them with you today. We're going to dissect that video. We're also going to go through a bit of a channel update and everything. And I had a good question coming from one of the viewers regarding VO2 as well, which is why we're going to choose that as the topic today. He basically said, I've done my FTP test on Zwift, but all the yellow, orange and red workouts seem really hard and I can't always finish them. Is this how it should be? Also, why do the red efforts that are harder watts seem easier than the orange ones? So obviously in Zwift, yellow's threshold, orange is VO2 and red's anaerobic. So we'll go through all that in the video. All right, let's wrap up the intro and get on with the riding. Cheers. We're back. As I said in the intro, rest day today. So normally a rest day for me is completely off the bike. I call a light ride. This is a recovery for me. Normally you can have passive recovery or active recovery. Passive, nothing, active. Bit of a roll. So rest for me is off. I have rest, recovery, endurance, tempo, threshold, VO2, and anaerobic. VO2 is the topic today. I will start off the chat today, just a little, I suppose, disclaimer, just saying, like all the topics that I talk about and any information I go through on these videos, it's just my own opinion and my experience from riding from lots of years. I'm not a qualified coach. I have not been a super elite rider in no means at all. So I just love training hard. And yeah, just getting to have a bit of a ride and sharing this sort of information. So if you're ever going to do any of these sort of workouts, or you're trying to find out, push yourself more or find out more, by all means look into it further, but make sure you do your proper testing so you're not pushing yourself in any zones that you shouldn't be. And most exercise programs always recommend you get a doctor checkup and all that sort of stuff. So make sure you look after yourself and find out more things in detail. I just do these videos so they're entertaining for you. Certainly happy to answer any more questions you might have regarding the topics we chat, which leads me to the pages on Facebook and the videos on YouTube and everything, getting some really good responses, which is great. But I've also had got some fairly elite riders from the not too distant past, and some from way back, some absolute guns from the 80s. So Some of the people following the channel now are just unbelievable riders from some huge races in Australia and overseas. So it's heaps of fun to have them guys here, and I hope that those ladies and gents can tune in on any of these topics. And if I've got something wrong, I think I'm one of the only few people in the world that love to be proved wrong and genuinely appreciate it. So anything we talk about, as I said, it's just my understanding, my opinions, what I've read and what I've found out, put into practice, what I've seen others benefit from or fail from. But if any of you really qualified coaches and elite cyclists, current or from the past, want to tune in and just correct me on anything or offer some advice, please do so, because you guys have been there and done it, and this is fun for me where you guys did it for a living. So please correct me where I'm wrong. Just want to make sure that I put that out there. I really appreciate you guys following. All right, let's start by dissecting yesterday's ride and why I think I know exactly what went wrong, because that was not normal for me. I certainly fail efforts and rides sometimes when I'm really aiming for something, or there is like no limit, as in I'm doing an FTP test and I'm pushing myself. There's no ceiling. It's like, what can you score? So those times I might not get the number I want, or if I'm just doing a crazy big effort where I've just set a ridiculous number and I'm using erg and I just can't get through it. A ramp test is a good example where you just fail. You're never going to succeed. It's going to stop the pedaling. So just so you understand, before I get into what caused yesterday, because it bothered me that I did not complete that workout. So I done some homework yesterday and this morning to bring you this video, because I think you're going to really benefit from it, about what other contributing factors can cause to a poor performance. Not that yesterday's was poor, got right through it. After a sort of 15-second break, I was able to finish the effort, but in all honesty, I was a minute off. That's how I view it. So, yeah, all right. Let's go through the things that I believe contributed to me not making it through the last minute. First things first, I want to go through the complete prior day and night of that before the ride yesterday. Sorry, so the night before and the day before. I was basically awake all last night with sore legs. So I had time to think about this, which made me want to do this homework. So the day before, I did the extra ride, so the Zwift orientation ride. And even though I said that I think that might have been what caused it, what caused me to miss out that last minute, it really wasn't, that ride wasn't that hard. Like, it was extra training stress, but I almost acted just like a really nice warm-up for the 2x15 sweet spot I done after it. So I just thought, really, that couldn't have affected me that much, because the sweet spot one felt pretty good. But anyway, so we had extra training the day before that wasn't prescribed. I had a shocking sleep. And by shocking, I mean, I track everything. and by I mean everything, everything's automated, so this all happens without me having to really have any input. But the kind of things that I track every day are sleep hours, sleep quality, heart rate variability, resting heart rate, weight, calories in, water, training stress, and calories burnt. Some other metrics I used to, I don't anymore. So I track all that every day and capture that. Like I said, it's all automated. Just as long as I put the food in, what I have, and much water and everything. Everything else is all done via apps. Now, how accurate they are could be questionable, but I've been using them all for years, so they're at least consistent, a bit like a power meter. As long as it's consistent, you can see trends, so really important. But, so terrible sleep. So normally, I am a brilliant sleeper. I will score 100 on the sleep scores regularly. And what it looks at is hours of sleep, quality sleep, deep sleep, and heart rate drop. So I normally get 100, anything in the 90s, I'm pretty good. And I'm there, I'm 90 plus, 95% of the time. So the night before yesterday's ride, I scored 76%. Now you might go, okay, so what's that mean? Well, I can tell you that if I score it for any reason in the 60s, showing the age here, if I score in the 60s, I won't make it to my normal bedtime without falling asleep. Or if that's a weekend, I'm definitely having an afternoon nap. So the 60s, I will feel like I'm hungover or being hit by a truck. Like I feel terrible from the moment I get up. So 76, it's a long way off 100, which I regularly get. My wife thought I must have been cheating the system, and she gave me her Fitbit once because she never scores above 80, 85. I put it on. The next morning she checked what she slept at, but I was wearing it 95. And that was a completely different watch. So I have brilliant sleeps, but that night before wasn't. I didn't warm up. Anything, like I know these plans have a warm up at the start. That's nowhere near enough for me. I don't know if the young guns can do that, but it's just, I need 15 to 30 minutes of rolling, getting the blood pumping, gradually increasing before I can get into doing 200 and 300 watt warm-ups. So I said in the video yesterday, after doing the first little end of the first warm-up ramp at 305 watts, it was like, oh my god. And towards the end of the video, the last 4 minute, second last effort, the 4 minute one, that felt not bad, but I was up the hill too, so it might have been a bit psychological. That felt better, than the last one didn't. But, so, probably not enough warm up. So, we've got the ride the day before. We've got terrible sleep, quite bad for me. No warm up like I'd normally do. My own fault. Just trying to make everything fit in the day and get the videos done, because I want to try and do one most days if I can. So maybe got to stop the pressure on myself to do that. Now, here comes the kickers. I normally, to give you an idea, I think I'm pretty good with my weight. Although I lost a lot, so I was down 70 in Feb, put heaps back on, just after Feb, and I've been working hard and I'm just ticked over back to 72. But normally, I will aim for around 2,000 calories plus half of my exercise calories as a general rule of thumb for someone my age, my height, my weight. And I seem to just drop that little bit of weight every week, depending on circumstances. Now my metabolic rate says I should, just for me to support my organs and body to tick over without doing anything, requires around 1,550. This is just using online calculators, by the way. 1,550. Now, the Zwift Academy ride and my 2 by 15-minute sweet spot, just the 2 rides burnt 1,402 calories, so that takes us to 2,950 calories, give or take. Now, my total intake for the day, and I'll tell you why, of food for the day before was 1,178 calories. I would never eat that less, like that amount, in a day. It's absolutely ridiculous. The reason why, jumped up in the morning, took the dog for a walk, come back. I had a latte on the walk, cheeky latte, come back, had some breakfast, a little bit of oatmeal, a little bit of apple and cinnamon through it, it was nice. And then the day started that I never ever have a day like. The desktop computer that I use here, Windows, that does all the streaming and the editing, the video editing software I use, had an update. And all of a sudden when I went to transcode some video, my CPU was sitting at like 15% utilization. Might not mean anything to some people, but basically to do an hour-long HD video with your CPU not doing any work is an absolute nightmare. So I was trying to fix that. No matter what I did, couldn't work it out. Well, Google everything you want in the forums. Must have just been a glitch with the update. Anyway, got to the point because I had 2 separate videos, the Zwift Academy and the 2x15. So we had to let them work in the background. That really ate into my day and got me sidetracked. Then had to do some work. Jumped across onto my work laptop, which is a Mac, opened it up, and that definitely doesn't update. I'll just keep that as it is. With certain software is not allowed to update on that. Opened it up to a completely blank desktop. I'm talking nothing to do work related, nothing to do with personal stuff. Gone. Now, although I know how to fix it now, pretty easy, ended up being an iCloud issue. That was stressful. So I've got a desktop PC not working. I've got a work computer, invoices, meetings, everything to get done, not working. And anyway, then I look at the time, almost dinner time by now, and I have to get to the supermarket to do shopping. My lovely wife works, my wife works a million hours a week these days, so playing on Zwift is a bit of a, I guess not a important thing to get done. It's important to me, but so I try to do a heap of the other stuff around the house at the moment, as well as get all my stuff done. And I had to race to the supermarket, do some shopping, come back, do some dinner. And by the time I ate dinner, I realised the only thing I had between breakfast and dinner was 2 cups of coffee, which leads me to my water intake. I normally have 2 to 3 litres of water a day, plus what I drink during my workout, which is usually, it's only an hour long, so maybe a litre, not usually more. So I can drink up to 4 litres of water a day. Guess how much I had? Whatever I had during the workout. Didn't have a drop. So I've gone into yesterday's VO2 workout, made it all the way through to one last minute, and I had more stress than normal the day before, terrible sleep, nowhere near enough food in the system, no stores at all left to call on, no warm up, no water. How the hell was I ever going to make it through that? Had I looked at that previous day, I wouldn't have done it. I would not have done that ride yesterday. That was absolutely ridiculous, attempting something like that. So I believe all that, along with the extra ride the day before, cost me a minute. So I'll never make those mistakes again, and I hope you don't either. Your day beforehand is really out of whack. You're not gonna be at your best, and certainly everything's out of whack. So note to self. That's my excuse anyway. We'll see next time we do one like that, and hopefully I can make it through for you, and I'll tell you then exactly all the same details about the day before. You'll see how much of a difference it made. Alright, how long did that take? Way too long, I guess. 20 minutes. Alright, the topic today, VO2. Okay, so let's first start, let's go back to the question that was asked. I've done my FTP test on Zwift, but all the yellow, orange and red workouts seem really hard, and I can't always finish them. Is this how it should be? And why do the red efforts that are harder watts seem easier than the orange ones? Okay. So, if you look at, you're talking yellow, orange and red, so we'll focus on those three. Yellow, threshold, which is probably what you've got if you've done your FTP test properly and all your workouts are set to that. That is the tempo, or that is the effort that you should be able to do for quite a decent amount of time, as in, depends, I don't know how long you've been riding for, but you know, you were feeling fresh, you'd be able to do that number that you got from Zwift for half hour plus. You should be able to, at least half an hour to an hour. Now, that's because you're working at the limit that your body can clear the lactic acid in your body. So that pain you get when you can't go anymore and you have to stop, it's because your body's not clearing the waste out of your system. You're just going above, you don't have enough oxygen getting through. So, yeah, yellow you should be able to hold for a certain amount of time, because that should be, if that's really hard and you can't finish them, maybe calibrate your gear, your trainer or whatever you're using, and do another FTP test. Even if it's gone up or down, it doesn't matter, but you should be able to, it might give you a new number that's more accurate to your current fitness, so that's really important. Now, to talk why is red harder than orange, that's an interesting way to put it, because it's harder, so it should be harder. Like a bigger watts, why doesn't it hurt more? You'll notice the red is far, far shorter as in seconds, compared to the orange, which is minutes. So think of orange, VO2 workouts, heart and lungs, and red as muscles, anaerobic, like without oxygen is basically what it means. So it's like sprints, really short sprints. So I don't think I do anything over 30 seconds anaerobically. And even then, I normally do my anaerobic stuff at 200% of my FTP. Hence the reason yesterday's ones were at 680, I think, during the warm-up, or the previous ones. Anyway, when I have anaerobic openers at the start, they're usually 20 or 30 seconds. And at that sort of wattage, that's enough. That's enough. Usually early on in the workout, so you can get through them easy enough, but like I would struggle to hold that for, I think I've got my best 1 minute power is like mid 600, so when I'm doing 680, 30 seconds, that's tough. That's hard to keep the pedals going over. They certainly slowing up. And the orange, which is where I failed yesterday, is VO2 is normally anywhere up to, say, 8 minutes. Any of the professionals there correct me if I'm wrong, but hence the reason like a ramp test or a 2 by 8 minute test gives you your power at VO2. Like that's sort of the maximum amount of time you can go because you're above your threshold. So straight away, your body can't keep up with the lactate, can't clear the waste in the system. So eventually, when you go above that heart rate, you're gonna come to a grinding halt soon. So that's what happened in my test yesterday, I should say. So I had a quick look during the homework session, and the highest heart rate I've seen since I've been on Zwift is 197. So I popped at 186 yesterday. So I know what it looked like just before I stopped, but I had room with the engine, and although I was suffering, and you can see that, I can hurt for another minute. I'm a big believer in you can't always hurt for another minute when there's lots of minutes left, but you can always hurt for the last minute because you get to switch off. And when you're in the last minute of a ride or the last K of a race, like, you always find more. But the reason I couldn't yesterday is the legs just couldn't turn those watts, and I was about to drop under 80. And I'm a bit of a believer in a test, or like 80 is the bottom for me. If I can't turn 80 unless I'm doing a special training session, but if I'm trying to perform at my best and I can't turn 80, especially at those watts, you just can't turn the pedals. They just come to a stop. And I just didn't have the energy in my system to get through that last bit. Not enough food, not enough water, not a good sleep. Would I have made it to right through? I believe so, absolutely. Would I have got closer than 1 minute? Absolutely. And I guarantee you, you get to 30 seconds or 20 seconds, or you see that little finish banner, nothing's going to stop you. So my legs just refused to turn because there was nothing in them. There was no energy stores left. And I will prove that by the next time I do this. As well as me, like I wouldn't, even if I wasn't videoing that ride, would have been no different. I would have gone to the absolute limits. And with you guys watching, you would think I would even dig deeper, but I pretty much go to my maximum whether someone's watching or not. So yeah, the best way to answer your question is know that they should all feel difficult. The yellow, the orange and the red, as you're calling them, workouts should definitely all feel difficult, because if you're riding at those intensities, you're either on your limit or you're past it, and you're clearly trying to improve, because no one in their right mind who wants to go out for an enjoyable ride rides at or past their limit. You ain't going to enjoy anything. So I would retest, and possibly, I don't know if you're following the program, have a rest day. If you feel a bit tired, maybe start with doing 1 day on and 1 day off. So you get a little bit of a recovery, and probably putting out way too many watts here for it's meant to be a rest day. Let's just tick away nice and slow. It's amazing when you always pushing yourself at higher watts, you automatically, even when you're having an easy day, you can push yourself, or not push yourself, but you're automatically riding harder. It's just sort of happens in the background. It's good to see the results after a while. But okay, so hopefully I've answered some questions there. It's you're not going to be able to do the orange workouts. Normally they're anywhere from, sometimes they're only 2 minutes, 3 minutes long normally. You start getting up to 5 minutes, they're really hard. And of course the tests are 8 minutes, so it tells you that you can't really go past that. Also, people will reach their VO2 and their lactate threshold can be at different percentages. I don't want to go into it and be too confusing, but no two people are the same. So even if you've got some of your numbers are the same, they won't be in other areas. So just work on your own numbers. But yep, check your gear, retest, and they should be, yeah, you should be able to do the yellow ones for a decent amount of time. The orange ones, maybe 2 to 3 minutes, and your red ones, probably, because it's all just muscle, the red ones, so it's probably 20 or 30 seconds. So just make sure the ones you're doing are those time lengths. And yeah, get back to us, let us know. There you go. I suppose just to simply touch base on VO2 max, I've never had my VO2 max tested in a lab. I've had lactate tests and so forth, where they take your blood and just measure what your lactate, what your levels are, like for the watts you're putting out and your heart rate, just the intensity, so they can sort of work out where what wattage you're putting out when you get to your sort of comfortable limit, I guess. I'm trying to keep it simple enough so people can understand what I'm saying, but you would have seen some cyclists having tests and their blood being taken. Yeah, but as in a VO2, so VO2 max basically refers to, I think a lot of people get mixed up between the respiratory system and the cardiovascular system. So lung capacity is really important. That's you breathing in, like that's respiratory. Cardiovascular is how your body transports and uses that oxygen, how it can deliver to the body. So you will hear a lot of times that world champions are born, not really made through training. It's just when you get someone who's really genetically gifted and then they train like hell, and that's where your elite pros come in, I guess. But yeah, so VO2 max is the amount of oxygen that your body can consume and sort of utilize to feed the muscles to generate power. So normally your absolute value, which you don't really see too much, you don't really see it expressed too much if you're just not looking into that sort of stuff, but that's normally sort of thank your mum and dad for that, and you can just train a bit and sort of certainly you know, improve it. But normally what you see is a number like 60 or 70 or 80, and what that's referring to is your consumption per your body weight. So that's why I'm trying to think of the best way to put it, I guess. Oxygen consumption per kilogram of body weight per minute, I think. So your VO2, while absolute may not improve, by your body weight can. So as you all see, you're on Zwift, watts per kilo on the side. The lighter you are, the harder you can go uphill, the faster you can go uphill, I should say. And obviously if you're delivering better oxygen to a smaller, lighter body, that's going to be more efficient. So like I said, I've never had my VO2 lab tested. There's lots of, I suppose, gimmicky ways you can get an estimate if that's the sort of thing you're really interested in without getting lab. I mean, you've got your, even my Garmin gives me an estimate. I think way back in the day, even Polar might have given you just an estimate. Once again, it's it might not be super accurate, but if you use it all the time, it'll at least be like a control, like a consistent. You'll see if you're getting a bit better, or if you're riding or running faster, and how your performance is. So it's good. There's a good so I should say my numbers haven't changed heaps, unless I look at my weights. Like there's a good website you can go to. I'll try and put the link down below. I'll find it, and it's your 6-minute power. You're going to put in your 6-minute power and your body weight, and that will give you an estimate of VO2. And the guy that designed it said it's within a 4% of his lab test. So plus or minus, it's once again, I guess it's a bit like your gum, can be pretty close, but it's interesting to, if you want to look at it. That's just another number. Most cyclists are crazy about numbers, so it's good to look. So let's see if I can look it up. Max VO2, here we go. VO2 max calculator, Michael Conzer. I'll put the link, I found the link anyway. So 6-minute power. Alright, that's a weird number. I track all my power numbers, but not really 6 minutes. I know 5 minutes. We'll put it this way, last time I done 8. I did 380. 380 for 8. For 5 I can upwards of mid-4s. So I would say, I don't know, I think if I was fresh, depends, doesn't say anything about this, but say you were fresh, if I was fresh, I could probably do around 420, give or take, for 6 minutes. Big for me, not big for some. Weight 72 as of a few days ago. Calculate. So there you go. That's it's not bad. That puts me at 70 as a VO2, so that's good for my age. It's not a bad number, certainly nothing compared to the big guns. I don't know how, it says within a few percent, so I'm surprised to see that number. I wouldn't think I was above that. It's funny how it corresponds though. It's like my Garmin usually says 67, 68. Oh, but that was at a higher weight. I haven't changed any of that, so that's probably close. I'm around, give or take, 70. That means anything to anyone. But there's a lot more involved in finishing or winning a race than VO2 and FTP, that's for sure. It's so different when you're out in the real world and you've got some wheels to swap turns with, tactics to come into play, and teammates to help or work against you. Like other teammates trying to bring someone back if you're trying to get away. It's so much more involved. These are just, some of these might, for a time trial, or something, all these numbers where it's just you against everyone else and there's no other little cheeky way someone can get an advantage on you. But, well, I must say, these watts feel better than the ones yesterday. The video I did a few days ago where I started off with my wife said I don't smile enough in these videos. These videos I can smile. These watts are easier. But hopefully I've answered some questions. I answered that person's question and touched base on a little bit of VO2 and the workout intensities and VO2 max. I could just, wants to check in on the VO2 max and stuff we talked about, by all means. It's a teammate saying right on. Like I said, I've never had that tested. It's interesting, I guess, to know it and everything, but it's these days they just pretty much look at the watts. It's try and see if I can get higher watts with the same or lower heart rate. That's the sort of how I gauge my improvement. Yep. Covered the topics, went through the ride. I think I'm about done. I'll give you guys a short video after all. Only 40 minutes long. Well, hopefully that's been fun for you. Certainly been more fun for me. We will be back most likely tomorrow with another ride. Hopefully far better fueled and ready to go. Alright, everyone, enjoy their day. See you again soon. Cheers.